Childhood of Jesus, chapter 224, The Nature of a Comet. Jonathan began to rack his brain at this, but he was totally unable to take hold of a sensible thought. The little child naturally noticed at once that Jonathan was unable to bring the milk-bowl comet into harmony with the heavenly comet. He therefore sat up and said to Jonathan, "My dear Jonathan, see, your thoughts are like an image of the milk-bowl comet which you saw. Your heart represents the large bowl filled with milk, in which your love is the milk. But above your heart there now is also an enormous swarm of midges, bugs, and gnats, just like the one above the milk-bowl. And this swarm consists of your thoughts which border on the ridiculous concerning the similar nature of the two comets. Now, friend Jonathan, whoever would seriously consider the core of the heavenly comet to be a milk-bowl, and its tail to be a swarm of bugs, those are, after all, only representations, but not perfect likenesses in nature. Now, do you really know what a representation is? What is represented by the bowl, or by the milk therein, or by the swarm of bugs and gnats? See, you do not understand it. So listen, and I will tell you something about it. The bowl represents a vessel used to hold substances to which my sustaining power of life is held fast. And the milk is such a substance which carries my sustaining power of life in most boundless measure. In the midges, bugs, and gnats, the power of life is already freely active. But if it is not nurtured with the proper sustaining power of life, it soon becomes weak and cannot develop itself for a higher and most perfect state of existence. And behold, the heavenly comet is nothing else than a newly created becoming world. The core is the vessel which holds my sustaining power of life. This power of life is very strongly heated by its own inherent fire, which I have given into this same power of life, and thus dissolves itself into nourishing vapors. And so these vapors, carrying a more advanced power of life, do not evanesce and become lost to the new world. They then are taken up by myriads of monads, amoebaiads, inhabited the ether, and by them again carried to the newly becoming world toward its more complete development. See, that is the corresponding similarity between the heavenly comet and our milk-bowl comet. Do not search any further now, so your love will not be weakened because of your searching. This explanation was heard by quite a few, and while no one understood it, many believed it. Chapter 225, The Long and Short Approach to God. Cyrenius now asked the little child, saying, "O my life, why may or why should one not search more deeply into your works? Why did you declare such searching to be detrimental to one's love for you? I would say it is just the opposite. Once one gets to know your works in ever greater depth and clarity, one must obviously increase in love toward you, and not become weaker therein. For it is already the case even among us humans, that a man also becomes all the more dear to us the more perfections we discover in him. How much more then will that be the case with you, the Lord and Creator of all things great, perfect, and glorious, if we learn to know you ever more and more? Therefore I would really like to entreat you myself, O my life, that you would give me a bit more enlightenment concerning this unusual star. For my heart tells me that I will be able to love you quite completely only then, when I'm able to recognize you more and more completely in your almighty, true, wise, and wondrous works. No one can really love you as the only Lord and God if he does not know you before that. Thus, our knowing in our souls who you are is in fact the chief reason of our love for you. Just as I also first had to become acquainted with my wife before I could take her into my heart. If I had not come to know her, she surely would not have become my wife." Here the little child smiled and replied, "Oh, my dear Cyrenius, if you were to give me such wise instruction more often, I would surely become a thoroughly shrewd human being also. See, you have really told me lots of new things here. But consider this. Just now you were a teacher to me, for you tried to prove to me that my warning in regard to overmuch searching in my works, as being detrimental for the soul of man in the realm of his love toward me, did not apply, and that, on the contrary, such searching is the proper way. How then should I, as your pupil, instruct you in matters still unknown to you? If there are better grounds for love known to you than your God and Creator gives you, how then could you entreat him for more profound enlightenment? Or do you really suppose that God will allow himself to be swayed to do something by reasonings arrived at and presented by men, as if he were a judge according to worldly law? O Cyrenius, therein you are still in very great error. See, I alone know my eternal order, which is the mother of all things. Out of this order you too have gone forth. The love of your spirit toward me is your very own life. Now, if you want to turn this love away from me all the more, when in fact you have me right before your eyes in the flesh, say, will such a foolish increase in your love really be justified? Yes, he who still does not know me, nor has me in his heart, he may indeed attain me in the manner you advocate. But if someone already has me on his lap, to what end should your gradual degrees of approach serve him? At this Cyrenius was greatly taken aback, took the matter deeply to heart, and no one asked about the comet any more. Chapter 226. Never fear the world, but fear yourselves. When the matter of the comet was thus disposed of, the little child said to Joseph, "Joseph, throughout these 2 days I took charge as an undisputed master of the house, and all of you obeyed me. But from now on I am returning the mastery of the house back to you, and as you decide matters, so also shall they be done. From now on I am going to be like every other human being again, and must be that way, for my flesh must also grow for the sake of all your welfare. For that reason do not now, nor in the future, expect any more openly manifest wonders from me in this country. But for all that, do not allow yourselves to be deceived in your faith and reliance in my power and might. For what I was from eternity, that I am always and will be for eternity. Hence never fear the world, which is nothing before me, but fear yourselves, lest you turn your hearts away from me, for that would be the death of your soul. With that you, Joseph, may again take over the management of the house, and lead it justly and properly in the name of my Father. Amen. And you, Cyrenius, depart tomorrow on a safe journey for Tyre, where important matters already await you. My love and my grace are with you, so you need not worry. Arrange all other matters with Joseph, for he is now the head of the house." Thereupon the little child called James over to himself, and said to him, "James, between us the first relationship will remain, with which you are familiar. Now all this must be adhered to in this land. Amen." At this Joseph became quite sad, and earnestly pleaded with the little child to continue as at present in his divine nature. But the little child now talked quite childishly, and no trace of anything divine remained in his speech. He soon became sleepy, and James had to bring him to bed. Long into the night the company sat together and discussed the possible reason for such change in the little child. No one said anything conclusive, and each asked of the other, but none was able to give a definite answer. And Joseph finally said, "We know what is good for us and what we should do, and that ought to satisfy us. It is already late at night, so I think it is best that we retire." In this all agreed with Joseph, and promptly went into the house to a good night's rest.